Many people dream of success, wealth, and a better life, but few truly understand what it takes to get there. We often hear stories of overnight successes, of people who seemingly rise to the top without effort. However, these stories rarely show the countless failures, sleepless nights, and sacrifices made along the way. Success is not merely a result of luck, but a combination of resilience, perseverance, and strategic planning. Every self-made individual has encountered obstacles, doubters, and failures before reaching their goals. They have faced rejection, criticism, and moments of despair, but pushed through when others would have given up. In reality, the journey to success is a test of endurance. It requires discipline, patience, and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Those who succeed are not necessarily the most talented or the luckiest, but rather the ones who refuse to quit when challenges arise. Success is often seen as an endpoint, but in reality, it is a continuous process of learning, adapting, and growing. Many people fail not because they lack ability, but because they lack perseverance. The ability to persist in the face of failure is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who abandon them. Consider the story of Steve Jobs, who was fired from the very company he helped create. Instead of giving up, he used the experience as motivation, eventually returning to Apple and transforming it into one of the most successful companies in the world. His resilience and ability to learn from setbacks were key to his success. Another example is Oprah Winfrey, who faced numerous rejections early in her career. She was even told she was unfit for television. However, she refused to accept defeat and went on to become one of the most influential media figures in history. The road to success is not a straight path. It is filled with detours, roadblocks, and challenges that test one's resolve. Those who persevere, learn from their failures, and adapt to change ultimately find success. True achievement requires unwavering determination, a willingness to take risks, and the ability to push forward even in the face of adversity. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. It demands sacrifices, long hours of work, countless failures, and the ability to keep pushing forward even when the results aren't immediate. Many people underestimate the mental and emotional strength needed to persist. The journey is often lonely, as self-doubt and external skepticism create roadblocks that only true determination can overcome. A great example is that of inventors and pioneers in history. Thomas Edison, for instance, failed over 1,000 times before perfecting the light bulb. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This mindset, seeing obstacles as learning experiences, defines those who ultimately succeed. Edison's relentless perseverance teaches us an essential lesson. Success often demands an unwavering commitment to trial and error. Many breakthroughs are not the result of sudden inspiration, but of continuous refinement and improvement. Beyond Edison, consider the Wright brothers, who defied skepticism and failure countless times before achieving controlled flight. Their belief in their vision, despite repeated failures, paved the way for modern aviation. Similarly, Henry Ford revolutionized the automobile industry by refining the assembly line process, overcoming skepticism, and making cars accessible to ordinary people. These figures embody the idea that progress comes from persistence. Their stories serve as a testament to the fact that greatness is not achieved by avoiding failure, but by learning from it, adapting, and moving forward with even greater resolve. Every entrepreneur, artist, athlete, or leader has faced rejection. Walt Disney was once fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. J.K. Rowling faced multiple rejections before Harry Potter became a worldwide phenomenon. Their success stories were not handed to them, they fought for them. Those who truly understand that nothing is free realize that success is an investment. Every effort, every setback, and every sleepless night contributes to their growth. They make strategic choices, constantly improve, and refuse to accept failure as a final outcome. This is what separates dreamers from doers and those who wish from those who achieve. Today, I will share with you a powerful story that not only serves as a lesson in persistence, but also unveils the truth behind success. Nothing is free. This tale follows a young man named Leo, who learned this lesson the hard way, turning his struggles into triumphs through determination and strategic thinking. A young dreamer's dilemma. Leo, a 20-year-old young man from a small, quiet town, possessed aspirations that soared far beyond the confines of his modest surroundings. He envisioned himself not only owning a chain of restaurants, but revolutionizing the culinary industry with innovative dishes and unparalleled customer experiences. His dream was not just about financial success. It was about creating a legacy that would inspire others to follow their passions. However, Leo quickly realized that aspirations alone were not enough to carve a path to greatness. His family was barely making ends meet. His father, Mark, worked long hours as a mechanic, often coming home exhausted with grease-stained hands. His mother, Claire, tirelessly cleaned houses from dawn to dusk, never complaining despite the strain it placed on her body. His little sister Sophie, with bright eyes full of hope, looked up to him as her hero, believing he could change their fate. But Leo knew that admiration alone wouldn't be enough to lift them out of poverty. It would take action, relentless effort, and an unbreakable will. One evening, staring at the vast starlit sky, Leo felt a heavy burden weighing on his heart. The twinkling stars seemed to whisper infinite possibilities, yet his reality felt bleak. He clenched his fists and whispered to himself, "How do I start when I have nothing? How do I move forward when the odds are stacked against me?" His mind raced with worries about his family's struggles, the uncertainty of his future, and the weight of his responsibilities. As he looked around his small town, he saw the familiar sights of dimly lit houses, the distant hum of crickets, and the cool breeze that carried the scent of the nearby bakery. It reminded him that time would pass regardless of whether he acted or remained stagnant. But the question remained, how could he take that first step when everything seemed so unattainable? A deep sigh escaped his lips as he thought about the stories he had heard of great entrepreneurs, people who had once been in his position but had somehow found a way forward. He longed for guidance, for someone to show him a path, yet he knew that ultimately the decision to act rested solely on his shoulders. The weight of responsibility made his heart race, but beneath the fear, a flicker of determination began to grow. His father, Mark, who had been sitting quietly nearby, overheard his son's murmurs. With a knowing smile, he placed a firm hand on Leo's shoulder and said, "Leo, dreams are not free. They demand effort, sacrifice, and unwavering persistence. If you want something, you must fight for it. Start small, but start now. Every great journey begins with a single step. The first step, turning an idea into reality." Leo took those words to heart. Observing his town, he noticed that people had to travel far to buy fresh bread, and often, by the time they returned, the bread had gone stale. This inconvenience led him to think about how he could bridge the gap between supply and demand within his own community. He spent several days analyzing the routines of his neighbors, speaking with locals about their preferences, and brainstorming how he could bring fresh bread closer to them without requiring them to make long trips. Leo had no financial resources to start a business, but he did have one asset: his determination. He decided to take a bold step. He mapped out potential selling locations, calculated the approximate demand, and estimated the cost of supplies. He even went as far as sketching a basic business plan, outlining how he could maximize his chances of success while minimizing risks. With every passing moment, his confidence grew. He knew he had to act, and he was ready to take the first step toward something greater. With determination, he approached Mr. Anderson, the owner of a distant bakery, with a carefully thought-out proposition: "Give me bread on credit for 1 week. I will sell it locally, ensuring fresh quality for my customers, return your money promptly, and keep a small profit for myself. If this succeeds, we both benefit. I'll handle the hard work, and your bakery will expand its reach without extra effort." Mr. Anderson looked at Leo with a mix of skepticism and curiosity. He narrowed his eyes and folded his arms, his voice laced with doubt. "And what if you fail? What happens then? Will you just walk away and leave me at a loss?" Leo, unwavering, replied, "Then I will work for you for free until I repay every last penny." This bold statement made Mr. Anderson pause. He respected commitment, and in Leo's eyes, he saw something he had once possessed: an unbreakable resolve. After a moment of silence, he nodded. "All right, 1 week. Show me what you can do." But before handing over the first batch of bread, he added, "Remember, Leo, this is not just about selling bread. It's about building trust, consistency, and a reputation. If you treat this as just a transaction, you will fail. But if you see it as the start of something bigger, you might just succeed beyond your imagination." Leo absorbed the words carefully, feeling the weight of responsibility settle onto his shoulders. He knew this was his chance to prove himself, and he wasn't about to let it slip away. Mr. Anderson, a seasoned businessman, eyed Leo skeptically. His gaze was sharp, his expression unreadable. "Why should I trust you with my bread? Many have tried and failed," he questioned, his voice laced with both curiosity and caution. "What makes you any different?" Leo stood firm, his eyes unwavering. "Because I am committed, and I see an opportunity that benefits us both. I am not here for a shortcut. I am here to build something meaningful. Let me prove myself, not just with words, but with action." After a long pause, Mr. Anderson finally nodded. "All right, 1 week. But if you fail, don't come back asking for more. However, if you succeed, we will talk about expanding this opportunity further. Initially skeptical, Mr. Anderson saw something in Leo's determination and agreed. This was Leo's first step towards something bigger. Early the next morning, Leo set up his small stand near the bustling town square, strategically positioning himself where people often passed by. With enthusiasm, he called out to potential customers, offering free samples and sharing the story of his bread's freshness. At first, people hesitated. Some were skeptical, others loyal to their usual routines. But Leo's friendly approach and confidence began to break down barriers. Soon, a curious passerby took a sample and nodded in approval. That single sale led to another, and then another. By midday, people lined up to purchase from Leo's humble stand. By the end of the day, to his astonishment, he had completely sold out. He rushed back to Mr. Anderson that evening, repaying his debt in full. The old baker smirked approvingly, nodding in silent recognition of Leo's hard work. Not only had Leo made a small profit, but he had also gained something invaluable, trust from the townspeople and proof that his idea could work. Energized by his success, Leo immediately began planning for the next day, thinking of ways to attract even more customers. He experimented with different selling tactics, engaged with customers personally, and even considered small improvements to the way he presented his bread. It was clear this was just the beginning of something far greater than he had ever imagined. The road to growth, learning the art of baking. Leo continued his business, waking up before dawn to fetch bread and sell it with enthusiasm. His daily routine became a test of endurance, rising before the sun, walking miles to collect fresh loaves, and greeting customers with the same unwavering energy. As weeks passed, his name became synonymous with reliability and quality. After 2 months, he had saved enough to buy a cart, making his deliveries easier and allowing him to reach more customers. The small investment increased his efficiency, but Leo quickly realized something deeper. If I learn to bake, I won't need to rely on someone else. The thought consumed him. He imagined not just selling bread, but crafting it with his own hands, adding unique flavors, experimenting with different textures, and creating a signature brand that people would recognize across town. He envisioned a cozy bakery filled with the warm aroma of freshly baked goods, a place where people would gather, share stories, and enjoy his handcrafted delights. Leo spent hours researching different types of bread, their origins, and the science behind perfecting dough consistency. He noted how different cultures used unique ingredients, inspiring him to dream beyond the traditional recipes he had known. The idea of owning an entire bakery no longer felt like an unattainable fantasy. It became a goal he was determined to achieve. This realization marked a turning point in his journey from a simple vendor to an aspiring artisan. He knew that mastering the craft of baking would require patience, skill, and an unrelenting commitment to improvement. No longer was he just selling someone else's product. He wanted to create something uniquely his own, something that bore his signature in taste and quality. Leo began spending nights studying techniques used by famous bakers, reading books, and watching videos on traditional and modern baking methods. He kept a small notebook where he meticulously recorded his observations, experiments, and results. Some nights, he barely slept, waking up early to continue his rounds of bread selling while refining his baking skills in every spare moment. Over time, he experimented with different combinations of ingredients, testing various levels of heat and fermentation, adjusting recipes, and taking notes on each attempt. He sought feedback from his mother and sister, who eagerly tasted his creations and encouraged him when he felt disheartened by failures. He faced countless disappointments, batches that burned, loaves that were too dense, flavors that didn't blend well, but he refused to quit. Slowly, his skills improved. His bread developed a distinct taste, rich in texture and flavor, earning admiration from his family and a few trusted neighbors who had the chance to sample his experiments. This progress solidified his belief that he was on the right path. What started as a survival strategy was now a passion that burned deep within him. This transformation from a mere seller to a creator, from a distributor to a craftsman, was the foundation of the legacy he hoped to build. He envisioned a future where his bakery was not just a business, but a cornerstone of the community, a place where people gathered not just for bread, but for warmth, inspiration, and shared dreams. To achieve this vision, Leo dedicated himself to the art of baking beyond just making bread. He wanted to create a space where people could experience the joy of craftsmanship and tradition. His dream grew beyond financial success. He aimed to nurture a community that appreciated the artistry behind each loaf. He began to experiment with different styles of bread, borrowing techniques from famous bakers around the world, infusing traditional recipes with his own creative flair. He incorporated seasonal ingredients, developed signature flavors unique to his bakery, and even started writing down stories behind each of his creations, sharing them with customers to deepen their connection with his craft. Leo also envisioned his bakery as a training ground for aspiring bakers. He wanted to pass on the knowledge he had painstakingly acquired, helping others rise from their struggles, just as he had. He saw himself mentoring young individuals, teaching them not just the science of baking, but the philosophy of perseverance and creativity. His bakery, he realized, would be more than just a place to buy bread. It would be a hub of culture, resilience, and ambition. It would be a place where stories were exchanged, where knowledge was passed down, and where passion turned into profession. With this expanded dream in mind, Leo worked tirelessly, knowing that the true legacy he wished to leave was not just in the bread he baked, but in the lives he touched and the community he built. Leo began to take his craft even more seriously, seeking out mentors, studying advanced techniques, and constantly refining his recipes. He attended workshops, traveled to nearby towns to learn from experienced bakers, and even experimented with unique ingredients that reflected his town's heritage. Each loaf of bread carried a story, a journey of perseverance, and a testament to his commitment to excellence. His ambition grew beyond baking. He wanted to teach others, to uplift aspiring entrepreneurs who, like him, had started with nothing but a dream. Slowly, his vision evolved into something much greater, a movement that encouraged resilience, self-reliance, and the power of relentless effort. Determined to refine his craft, Leo returned to Mr. Anderson, pleading for mentorship in the art of baking. The old baker, skeptical at first, crossed his arms and eyed Leo with measured patience. Baking isn't just about mixing flour and water, he warned. It requires precision, patience, and relentless effort. It's a craft that tests your endurance. Despite the warning, Leo remained steadfast. He promised to commit himself fully, waking up at dawn to knead dough and mastering the intricate balance of ingredients. After some thought, Mr. Anderson finally agreed, though with a stern reminder, "If you fail to keep up, don't expect me to go easy on you." With that, Leo's journey into the world of professional baking had truly begun. At first, Leo struggled. His hands ached, his arms felt sore from endless kneading, and his bread was either too hard, too soft, or tasteless. Every failure chipped away at his confidence, making him question whether he had the skill to truly succeed. Some nights, he sat alone in his small kitchen, staring at failed loaves, wondering if all his efforts were in vain. Discouraged, he almost gave up, but his father's words echoed in his mind. "Dreams are not free." These words fueled him, reminding him that mastery required persistence. Determined to improve, Leo analyzed every mistake, adjusted his techniques, and experimented tirelessly. He studied the nuances of dough fermentation, learned how temperature affected consistency, and discovered the subtle balance between time and texture. After weeks of relentless practice, waking up at dawn and working late into the night, he finally crafted a loaf that was golden, airy, and rich in flavor. Mr. Anderson, inspecting it with a critical eye, took a bite, let out a slow nod of approval, and declared, "This is perfect, Leo. You're ready." Leo started baking from home, with his mother and sister supporting him. His kitchen became a workshop of creativity and precision. He experimented with different flavors, textures, and baking techniques, aiming to create the most delightful pastries that people had ever tasted. As word spread about his unique and high-quality baked goods, demand began to increase. Customers would line up outside his small home to get a taste of his freshly baked bread, cookies, and pastries. Encouraged by the overwhelming response, Leo expanded his offerings, incorporating special treats for festivals and custom orders for celebrations. With each passing day, he perfected his recipes, using only the finest ingredients and adding his personal touch to every product. He paid meticulous attention to every detail, ensuring the flour was freshly milled, testing different levels of fermentation, and experimenting with new flavors inspired by his community's culinary traditions. As the aroma of his fresh bakes filled the air each morning, more and more townspeople came to his small shop, eager to taste what he had crafted. Word of mouth spread beyond his town, and soon, people from neighboring areas began visiting, drawn by the promise of his unique and high-quality baked goods. Leo's reputation grew beyond just being a vendor. He was now a true artisan baker, known for his innovation, dedication, and the passion he infused into every loaf of bread, every pastry, and every treat that left his oven. He had transformed baking into both an art and a means of bringing joy to his customers, turning his humble beginnings into a thriving enterprise. Challenges and competition, rising above the odds. Success was not without its trials. A new bakery, owned by a young entrepreneur named Eric, emerged in town. Unlike Leo's humble operation, Eric's bakery was sleek, stylish, and backed by significant financial investment. His shop had state-of-the-art equipment, an elegant storefront, and a marketing strategy that drew customers in droves. Leo watched in dismay as foot traffic to his stall dwindled. His once loyal customers were now intrigued by the dazzling displays of Eric's pastries, his colorful advertisements, and the modern, inviting ambience of the new bakery. The scent of freshly baked goods wafted through the streets, enticing even the most dedicated patrons of Leo's simple stall. His sales plummeted, and for the first time in months, doubt gnawed at his resolve. Each morning, he found himself staring at the uneaten loaves, wondering if his dream was slipping away. Had all his hard work been for nothing? Was this the end? He replayed every decision he had made, questioning whether he had been too slow to innovate or too naive to compete with a well-funded rival. The weight of uncertainty pressed heavily on his shoulders, yet deep inside, he knew that giving up was not an option. He had built something from nothing before. He could do it again, but this time, he needed a new strategy. Leo took a step back and analyzed his situation. He spent nights researching marketing techniques, understanding customer psychology, and identifying gaps in Eric's business model that he could leverage. He realized that while Eric's bakery was flashy and modern, it lacked the personal touch and community engagement that Leo had cultivated. Determined to turn his fortunes around, Leo decided to emphasize what made his bakery special. He planned to introduce artisan bread with unique flavors inspired by local ingredients, launch customer loyalty programs, and create small events where people could experience his baking process firsthand. He understood that success was not just about selling bread, but about creating an experience that resonated with his customers. Instead of succumbing to despair, Leo sought feedback from his customers with humility and curiosity. He approached them personally, engaging in friendly conversations and listening carefully. What do you like about Eric's bakery? What can I do better? He even took notes, treating their opinions as valuable insights rather than criticisms. Leo didn't just ask, he implemented their suggestions. He introduced fresh ingredients that locals loved, experimented with flavors inspired by customer recommendations, and refined his baking techniques to improve texture and taste. He also made his service more engaging, offering personalized greetings and remembering regular customers' favorite orders. Additionally, Leo involved his customers in the process. He held small community taste testing events where they could vote on new flavors and designs, making them feel like they were part of something special. This interactive approach not only strengthened customer loyalty, but also created excitement around his bakery. Through these efforts, Leo transformed his bakery from just a business into a thriving community hub. Customers felt valued and heard, creating a sense of belonging that extended beyond transactions. Regular patrons became familiar faces, and new customers arrived daily, eager to experience the warmth and personal connection Leo provided. As word spread, his bakery gained recognition not just for its delicious pastries, but for the atmosphere of camaraderie it fostered. Families gathered in the morning for freshly baked bread, students stopped by for an afternoon treat, and elderly neighbors shared conversations over warm pastries. Leo's bakery became more than a place to buy food. It became a cornerstone of the town's identity. His reputation for quality and customer care set him apart, drawing in even those who had once preferred Eric's bakery. Unlike the sterile, high-end experience Eric provided, Leo's business thrived on authenticity, warmth, and a deep-rooted connection with the people he served. His customers didn't just come for the bread, they came for the sense of belonging, for the welcoming conversations, and for the feeling that their presence mattered. Leo took extra steps to ensure his bakery felt like home for every visitor. He designed a cozy seating area where customers could enjoy their treats with a cup of freshly brewed coffee or tea. He played soft, soothing music in the background, creating a peaceful atmosphere where people could relax, chat, and even work. He also started a tradition where customers could leave handwritten notes on a community board, messages of gratitude, encouragement, and even memories tied to his bakery. This sense of connection deepened as he engaged with his patrons beyond just selling bread. He organized storytelling evenings where elders shared tales from their youth, and children listened in wonder while enjoying warm, freshly baked cookies. The bakery became more than a shop. It became a place where friendships were formed, where strangers turned into neighbors, and where the heart of the community beat stronger with every shared moment. Leo made an effort to remember names, personal stories, and even special occasions. He would surprise customers with small tokens of appreciation, like a free pastry on a birthday or a warm cup of tea on a cold morning. His shop became more than a bakery. It became a symbol of community, kindness, and perseverance. As his success grew, so did his vision. Leo began hosting weekly baking workshops, teaching children and aspiring bakers the art of bread making. He saw it not just as a business expansion, but as a way to give back, to inspire others as he had once been inspired. His bakery became a haven where dreams were nurtured and hard work was celebrated, setting him apart as more than just a businessman. He was a community builder. He learned that people were drawn to the aesthetics of Eric's shop and the decorative appeal of his pastries. Determined not to be left behind, Leo took action. He upgraded his cart with warm, inviting colors, added neatly arranged displays to highlight the freshness of his goods, and began experimenting with new presentation techniques. He taught himself cake decoration through books and videos, tirelessly practicing intricate designs and unique patterns that set his pastries apart. Additionally, he introduced a new marketing approach by engaging with customers on social media, sharing behind-the-scenes glimpses of his baking process and offering limited-time specials. Word of mouth began to spread, and slowly, customers returned, drawn not just by the quality of his goods, but by the warmth and passion that radiated from his work. A setback and a community's support. Just as Leo's business was flourishing, disaster struck. One stormy night, a fire broke out in his shop, consuming not just his equipment, but also months of hard work and dedication. The town whispered, maybe this is the end for Leo. The sight of his charred bakery, once filled with warmth and the aroma of fresh bread, now reduced to ashes, was almost unbearable. The weight of despair loomed over him, but deep inside, he knew he couldn't let this be his final chapter. Standing amidst the charred remains, Leo faced a choice: accept defeat or fight back. Though the weight of loss pressed heavily on his shoulders, he refused to let it crush him. He took a deep breath, wiped the soot from his hands, and resolved to start again. With makeshift tools and whatever ingredients he could salvage, he returned to baking at home, using his small kitchen as a temporary bakery. Despite the limitations, he poured his heart into every loaf, ensuring that his customers would not go without the bread they had come to love. Seeing his resilience, the townspeople came together. Some donated ingredients, others offered financial support, and a few even volunteered their time to help rebuild his bakery. They believed in him because he had always shown perseverance, and now it was their turn to stand by him. The entire town became invested in his comeback, proving that true success is never achieved alone, but through the unwavering support of a community that believes in one another. Months later, Leo reopened his bakery, stronger than before. His shop was not just restored, it was transformed with an improved layout, better equipment, and a renewed energy that attracted even more customers. The reopening day was filled with celebration as townspeople gathered to support him. The mayor, standing before the crowd, proudly declared, "Leo, you've shown us all that determination and hard work lead to success. Your journey has become an inspiration for our entire community." Lessons from Leo's journey. Leo's journey teaches us valuable lessons that extend far beyond the walls of his bakery. His story is not just about bread or business. It is about resilience, strategy, and the relentless pursuit of growth. 1. Dreams are not free. Success requires sacrifice, effort, and persistence. 2. Failure is a learning opportunity. Every mistake brings a lesson that can guide future success. 3. Help yourself first. People will support you only when they see you fighting for yourself. 4. Adapt to survive. Change is inevitable. Those who embrace it grow stronger. 5. Resilience is key. The hardest times often precede the greatest breakthroughs. Leo didn't just build a bakery. He built a legacy of perseverance, a reputation of integrity, and a thriving community that flourished under his leadership. His unwavering dedication turned his business into a beacon of hope, proving that true success is measured not just in profit, but in the positive impact one leaves behind. Final words: the price of success. The world often romanticizes success, painting it as a stroke of luck or the result of natural talent. But the truth is, nothing is free. Every achievement demands effort, time, sacrifice, and resilience in the face of failure. The real question is, are you willing to embrace the struggle, endure setbacks, and persist through adversity to reach your goals? Leo's story is a testament to what's possible when you refuse to give up. Whatever your dream is, pursue it relentlessly, knowing that every setback is just another step toward success. Stay committed, work tirelessly, and embrace the challenges along the way. Remember, nothing is free, but with determination, everything is within reach. If you found this story inspiring and want to continue building your English vocabulary while learning valuable life lessons, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. Learning English effectively starts with engaging content, and together, we can grow towards mastering it professionally. See you in the next story.